Hello and good evening, everybody, and it is great to be back. And I really have to apologize for missing last week, but unfortunately, I was dealing with some personal issues, and it was quite a journey, but at least for now, I've reached a point of stability. I mean, the journey still isn't over. It's actually never going to be over, but I guess all that you can really do is just take it step by step, day by day, and just hope for the best. But anyways, tonight I would like to sort of try to get back to business as usual, and I would like to do another episode of Song Tournament. And the artists that I have chosen to focus my efforts on tonight are American arena/hard rock band Journey. Originated in the early 70s in San Francisco as basically the remnants or some of the remnants of other artists such as Santana and Steve Miller Band. And it was originally composed of Greg Rowley on lead vocals and keyboards and piano as well, Neil Sean on lead guitar, Ross Valerie on bass guitar, and then Ainsley Dunbar on the drums. And I think they had another guitarist at the time, actually, George Tinker, I want to say. I think that's right, but he did not last very long. And the thing is this, they originated and they did not exactly have the signature sound that they are most well known for. They were really more of a jazz rock or prog rock band, and it definitely was interesting, and I really, really respect that material from those first three albums. And again, Greg Rowley was taking over most of the lead vocal duties. Neil Sean sang a song here and there, and there were actually a lot of instrumentals at the time, believe it or not. But that was their initial sound, but that all changed in the year 1978 when they brought in another lead vocalist by the name of Steve Perry. And his purpose was to kind of relieve Greg Rowley from a lot of the lead vocals so he could focus on his keyboarding duties. And to be honest, I think that was a good move because he was a much better lead vocalist than Greg Rowley was. But he also took the band in a more mainstream direction, and they became one of the leading arena rock bands in music history. Right alongside the other of the big five. I consider them one of the big five. The other four being Boston, Foreigner, REO Speedwagon, and Styx. But as I said, I am focusing and honing in on Journey tonight. So let's just sort of go over the rules of this game. Again, what I have right here are the seedings of the top 16 Journey songs. How did I arrive at this? Well, a simple Google search, so there you go. I mean, I don't even fully agree with this top 16. I'm sure nobody is going to agree with it. But if I start putting my personal subjective opinion in there, then, a whole bunch of people will be like, why'd you leave off this song? Why'd you leave off that song? And so this was the most objective way that I could get a top 16 seeding, so that's it. It was the first ranking that came up when I typed it into Google. So basically, you know how tournament brackets work. The first seed goes against the 16th seed. The second seed goes against the 15th seed. The third seed goes against the 14th seed, so on and so forth. And we're going to go through the entire process until one is declared a winner. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with round number one. That's a very good place to start. And we're going to start with the number one seed, Don't Stop Believin', versus the number 16 seed, Lovin', Touchin', Squeezin'. And this is a very, very difficult round because I think both of these songs are incredibly strong. Don't Stop Believin' is obviously what the band is the most well known for, okay? This was really the hit single that propelled them into the stratosphere, and I definitely respect them for that. But, it starts out with a nice little piano intro, and then, of course, the band starts gradually coming in, and the chorus starts, and I love it, okay? You know, I think it has quite a punch to it. I think it has such an emotion behind it that I absolutely love it. Got a great guitar solo in there, and it all concludes with the outro, "Don't stop believing," and yeah, that was awful, so, you know, what can I do? But it is competing against another very strong number, "Lovin', Touchin', Squeezin'," which is a blues song, but I really, really love it. I actually can play this on the bass guitar, and it is definitely led by the bass. Doom, 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 do, 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 do. And again, I love it. I mean, when Steve is singing, he's got kind of this staccato going, "Lovin', touching, squeezing," and, you know, it's such a great jam. And there is a live version off the Live in Houston album that I actually think is better. The outro is also incredible, despite being incredibly simplistic. I mean, it's just Steve and the rest of the band going, "Na, na, 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 na." I mean, that's all they're doing, but it works so incredibly well. And it's helped a lot by that live version. In fact, both of these songs are on that live album, and I think both of the live versions are actually better, but that's not what I'm comparing. I'm comparing the studio versions, and well, I think "Lovin', Touchin', Squeezin' is the better song, believe it or not. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to rip on "Don't Stop Believin'," but again, these are two of the greatest Journey songs ever, and I am giving this round to, whoa, what happened there? I am giving this round to "Lovin', Touchin', Squeezin'. So, yep, we just had a 1-16 upset. The 16th seed, "Lovin', Touchin', Squeezin', has defeated the number 1 seed, "Don't Stop Believin'. That hasn't happened very often. Well, actually it does on this show, but in real life it doesn't happen that often, so, you know, that's one for the books. So now we're going to move on to the second round. We have the number 8 seed, "Who's Crying Now," from the Escape album, versus the number 9 seed, "Only the Young," from the Vision Quest soundtrack. And really, this was recorded right around the time they were doing the Frontiers album, which is the one that came after Escape, and I really wish that "Only the Young" had been on that album. It is definitely far better than a lot of the numbers that did end up on the Frontiers album. I mean, Frontiers, I don't hate, but it's a significant step down from what came before it, but I think "Only the Young" really, really would have improved it. But on the remastered edition, it is included there, but it kind of is a bummer. You got to get the remastered bonus track version to get it. But then we have "Who's Crying Now," which is also more of an adult contemporary number. It starts out, it's got the piano and the bass, you know, having a pretty groovy beat and everything. And it's a lot more soft than some of the other stuff that they're very well known for. I mean, there is stuff on the Escape album that just rocks. Namely, the title track and another song that I will get to in a little bit. But "Who's Crying Now" is a ballad. Now, ballads are not necessarily a bad thing, but I like it when they have a punch to it. I like it when they have an emotional kick to it, and "Who's Crying Now" just doesn't really have it, in my opinion. I mean, maybe if things started picking up, it could have been better, but again, it's got the build-up, but we never quite have the payoff, in my opinion. I mean, it's still very catchy, but "Only the Young" is a better song, even though it is definitely starting to lean a lot more towards synth pop, which is not exactly a favorite genre of mine, but this does have the kick to it. I mean, it just comes out swinging immediately. I don't know if I can try to hum it, but it's got a nice, it's got a nice keyboard intro. It's got forget it, I'm not going to do it. But it works incredibly well, and for that, "Only the Young" is going to win this round. The 9 seed has defeated the number 8 seed. Only the Young, just like I said, has the kick that Who's Crying Now does not. Neither are among my favorite Journey songs, but I do enjoy Only the Young more than Who's Crying Now. So now we move to round number 3. We have Cinder My Love from the Frontiers album versus Wheel in the Sky from the Infinity album released in 1978. And Infinity was the very first album that had Steve Perry on it. And it was one of the very first Journey albums I ever bought. And I thought it was kind of hit and miss. But you cannot deny Wheel in the Sky is a great song. Again, very soft guitar intro, but it starts kicking in and the rhythm is great. The guitar work is great, and I really, really enjoy it. Is it overplayed? Yes, it is, but it's a beast within itself. And for that, I absolutely do love Wheel in the Sky. This song probably would never have existed without Steve Perry. It definitely is not the kind of thing that appears on the first couple of albums without him, but he really brought something to that band that brought out the best in them, and Wheel in the Sky is one of them. And again, it's hard rocking, which I like. The rhythm is good, which I like. It's kind of slow, but it is kind of brooding, but I still like it. It doesn't have to be fast. Send Her My Love, though, Send Her My Love, on the other hand, sorry about that. It is pure, unapologetic synth pop. And I respect that. You know, you do what you do, but it's really not for me. It's too soft, it is too keyboard driven, and it just does not hit the mark with me. I have never liked it. I still don't like it. Wheel in the Sky is the winner of round number 3. So, the next place to go, the next logical place to go is round number 4. We have the 4th seed, Separate Ways, Worlds Apart, versus the 13th seed, Girl Can't Help It. Separate Ways is off the Frontiers album, and Girl Can't Help It is off the very controversial Raised on Radio album released in 1986. And 1986 is really all I should have to say. We all know what was happening in 1986. Synthesizers were dominating the music scene. Everything, or just about everything, was MTV bait, aside from, you know, artists who didn't want to be MTV bait, like Megadeth and Metallica, but they are very far removed from Journey. Now, both of these are very, very keyboard driven, but Separate Ways, it does have some testosterone behind it, I'll say that, okay? It has got a very good punch to it. It's got a very good guitar rhythm from it, and it's heavy. Sure, it's got some keyboards in it, but it flows very well, and it definitely is the heavier song. Girl Can't Help It, I absolutely despise. I despise everything just about from the Raised on Radio album, and Frontiers, while I don't hate it, it's definitely not good, but Separate Ways is definitely a bright spot. Separate Ways is a very, very good album opener, and, you know, the bass and the drums are just thundering, and they really give the song a lot of energy that a lot of the other songs from that album do not have. It's definitely the more energetic song. It's definitely the better written song. Separate Ways is going to defeat Girl Can't Help It. I know that is probably not much of a surprise, but it's how I feel, so there you go. But believe it or not, this is the very first round that the higher ranked seed actually won, so we'll see what happens next. Next round is going to be Faithfully from Frontiers, and it's going to be against the number 14th seed, Ask the Lonely, which was off of another soundtrack album, but it was also released right around the time that Frontiers came out, and it's also included as a bonus track on the remastered edition of Frontiers. Now, Faithfully is one of the band's most well-known ballads. It is a piano ballad, and yeah, I can't say I'm a very big fan of piano ballads, but this one actually does really work. They were definitely trying to capitalize off the success of Open Arms that had been on their previous album, Escape. And while I don't think it's quite as good, it's still good. I actually do like it. Again, it's got that raw emotion that a ballad needs. It's also incredibly catchy, and for that, I can forgive a lot of that. But then we have Ask the Lonely, which I wouldn't exactly call a ballad, but it's definitely teetering on the line. It's pretty fast. It's definitely a lot faster than Faithfully. And the bass and the drums are definitely a lot more prevalent than they were on Faithfully. And it's got some emotion behind it. It has got some energy behind it. And this is a tough call because neither of these, I would say, are my favorite Journey song, but I definitely do prefer Ask the Lonely. Well, now that I reflect on that, it was a harder decision than I'm making it out to be, but I was kind of struggling with this one before I started this episode, but now that I think about it, decisively, I do prefer Ask the Lonely, and, that chorus, I don't know the lyrics, and I'm not going to try to sing it because I would just mess it up. I can't sing like Steve Perry, but it's a good chorus, and it's got me, it gets me, and I think that it deserves to move on more than Faithfully. So that concludes round number 5. Round number 6, we have the 6th seed Lights versus the number 11 seed Still They Ride. Lights being off of Infinity and Still They Ride being off of Escape. And they're actually very similar songs, as in they both kind of have a bluesy feel to them, and they never really quite get the band all kicking into gear on either of them. But, they have a good little swing to it, and for that I respect. Lights is actually the very first song off of Infinity, so I guess it's the very first song that had Steve Perry on it, at least if you're going chronologically. And it's a classic. It comes on the radio all the time. We've all heard it when the lights go down in the city. Yeah. Still They Ride, on the other hand, is not nearly as good. The rhythm of Lights I love. Still They Ride never really quite gets its feet off the ground. It starts out and you feel like it's building to something, but it just never reaches it. Again, Journey has had a lot of ballads. Some of them have really worked. This one, I just don't really think it does. But Lights, on the other hand, is a stone cold classic. I cannot knock Lights out of this one. Lights is going to move on. Still They Ride is out. Still They Ride was on the initial greatest hits that I bought when I was trying to get into Journey. And it was a song I got about 30 seconds into, and I just skipped right over it. I was like, this is not doing it for me. So anyways, we now move on to round number 7. We have Feeling That Way. Come on. Sorry about that. Cat got on the table. She's kind of annoying. But we have the number 7 seed, Feeling That Way, which is off Infinity, versus the number 10 seed, Any Way You Want It, off of 1980's Departure. Now, Feeling That Way is a rather interesting song because Greg Rowley actually takes lead vocals on this one. After Steve Perry joined the band, Greg Rowley was still in the band, and I kind of respect it that Greg still sang periodically. And this was one of the songs that he did sing while Steve Perry was in it. Now, Steve Perry still sings on this one, but he sings the chorus and the background vocals while Greg sings the lead verses. But it's great. Starts out with the piano, but then things really start picking up, and it's got a great rhythm to it. It's got a great beat to it. And I gotta say, at the very end, it's just building and building and building to something, which I absolutely love. And then it ends with the entire band, I believe, just going, Feeling that way, and it works. They have got some great harmonies, I gotta say, and it segues into another song that I'm not gonna talk about because that's not the subject of tonight's review, but yeah, I mean, Feeling That Way is a great number. Then we have Any Way You Want It, which is another radio classic. And the first time I heard it was actually when I was watching Caddyshack. That is actually the song that Rodney Dangerfield's character starts blasting on the golf course. It's actually kind of funny. But yeah, Any Way You Want It is a very, very silly song. It's fast, and you know, it's a radio classic. You cannot go wrong with that. But it's definitely very sleazy in nature. I mean, just listen to the title and you pretty much got the entire thing. But I gotta say, I actually think I'm gonna go with the underdog on this one. I am gonna go with Feeling That Way on this one, believe it or not. Whoa, that's not good. I do love Feeling That Way. I like Any Way You Want It. I love Feeling That Way. And so Feeling That Way is going to move on. And Any Way You Want It has unfortunately been outed. We now come to round number 8. And this is going to be the last round in the initial bracket. And we have the number 2 seed, Stone in Love, off of Escape. And the number 15th seed, Be Good to Yourself, off Raised on Radio. And I'm going to tell you right now, Stone in Love is going to win. Be Good to Yourself is going to lose. I did not even have to think about that one. Stone in Love is a really great song. It's another radio classic, but again, it's led by the guitar, which I love. The rhythm is great. The beat is great. The entire band is on fire. The outro probably could have been a little bit better. It feels a little anticlimactic. But that's a very, very minor nitpick. I really do love Stone in Love. I love the chorus, and I love the beat. Dun, 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 dun. And I probably did that incorrectly. I am sorry. But yeah, Stone in Love is going to win. Feeling That Way is out. Both of these, what am I saying? Be Good to Yourself is out. Feeling That Way is still in. What was I saying? But yeah, I hate the Raised on Radio album. It is pure synth pop. It's terrible. It's awful. And I'm not really surprised that the band broke up shortly after. Escape, on the other hand, is a decent album, and Stone in Love is one of the main highlights from Escape. And this was also on that initial greatest hits I bought, and this was a song where I had to skip through a whole bunch of them because I just wasn't really digging them. And when I came to Stone in Love, I'm like, wait, this one's good. I'm going to listen to this one, and I'm glad I did. So now we are going to come right back to the top, and we're going to have the number 16 seed, Lovin', Touchin', Squeezin', versus the number 9 seed, Only the Young. And two great Journey songs. I mean, we've kind of cleared the fat right here. The rhythm is great on both of them, and I'm going to say Lovin', Touchin', Squeezin' is also very, very sleazy in nature, and Only the Young seems to be the more mature song from what I can gather, if that makes any sense at all. But that definitely plays in the favor of Only the Young, and it does really, like I say, have some emotion behind it, which is just amazing. But the beat of Lovin', Touchin', Squeezin', it's great, okay? I love that bluesy beat. I love playing it on my guitar. I actually play it to the live version more often, and it's just a great jam session. And the outro, as simplistic as it is a classic. Lovin', Touchin', Squeezin' is going to move on. Only the Young is going to be out. I mean, both are great songs, but I got to go with which one is better. And I'm going to do the same thing over here because we're going to have Wheel in the Sky versus Separate Ways. Now, this one is a lot more clear-cut. I love Separate Ways. I think it's fast. I think it's a classic Journey song, and I loved it from the moment I heard it. It's no Wheel in the Sky. Wheel in the Sky is one of the greatest Journey songs ever. And even though it's slower, it does what it's trying to do a lot better. And the fact that it doesn't have the synthesizers, which aren't always a bad thing, but it's also not exactly something I like that much. Wheel in the Sky is going to move on, and Separate Ways is out. So that is going to clear the first two for the final four. Again, I do dig Separate Ways, but I like Separate Ways. I love Wheel in the Sky. So now we have the third round in the second bracket. We have the number 6 seed Lights versus the number 14 seed Ask the Lonely. And this is going to be a very, very interesting pick, because we again have another song from the 80s synth pop era and another song from the Infinity album, which is really back more when they had kind of a bluesy feel to it. So again, it just is all going to come down to who did what they're trying to do better. And Lights, it's a great blues number, and I like it, and I think it's really catchy. And I also acknowledge it is a Journey classic, but I've got to go with my gut. This is a very tough decision, because there are things I like about both of them, and there are things that I dislike about both of them, but I have heard Lights so many times. Now, there are other songs that I have heard so many times that I am not tired of, but unfortunately I am a little tired of Lights. I'm gonna go against what a lot of you might be thinking I may have done. I'm gonna go with Ask the Lonely on this one. I think it's a very well-written song. I think both are very well-written songs. Yeah, Ask the Lonely has the synthesizers on it, which definitely bring it down, but it flows better than Lights, in my opinion, and it's faster, which is also another definite plus. Then finally, we have Feeling That Way versus Stone in Love. Oh boy, this is a very tough call, because these are both great Journey songs, okay? One of them is a little bit more commercial. Stone in Love is a little bit more commercial. Feeling That Way is a little bit closer to the band's roots, those very bluesy rock roots, and it's tough. It's very tough. But I think both songs are well written. I think both songs sound very, very good. It all just depends on where the band sounds better. And as much as I hate to say it, as much as it pains me to say it, I think they sound better on Feeling That Way. Stone in Love is going to be out. Again, I think some of the vocals, especially in the chorus, get a little bit whiny on Stone in Love. That's a minor nitpick, but Feeling That Way has far fewer minor nitpicks. So that is why Feeling That Way is going to advance to the final four. So here we go, and boy, look at that final four. It's the 7th seed, the 14th seed, the 12th seed, and the 16th seed. So let's just start with the number 16th seed, Lovin' Touchin' Squeezin', versus the number 12th seed, Wheel in the Sky. I can't complain about the sound on either of them. They both sound incredible. I cannot complain about the band. They are both on their A game on both of these. It really just comes down to my personal preference, okay? I think these are both equally great songs. They're both equally famous also. I mean, I hear them on the radio constantly, both of them. And so, like I said, it all just comes down to my gut and what I feel in my heart, and it's Lovin' Touchin' Squeezin'. Okay, I am sorry I have to knock out Wheel in the Sky, but Wheel in the Sky did make it to the final four, and that's very impressive because it is a great Journey song. I just like Lovin' Touchin' Squeezin' better. That's about all I can say about this. So, finally, guys, in the final four, we have the 14th seed, Ask the Lonely, versus the number 7th seed, Feeling That Way. And again, these are both songs I like. I think what they're trying to do, they both do it well. But it really, in this case, is going to come down to what do I like better? Do I like really good 80s synth pop, or do I like really good 70s blues rock? And the answer is really good 70s blues rock. Feeling That Way has defeated Ask the Lonely. I know that Ask the Lonely has a lot of fans out there, and if I in any way disappointed you, I want to apologize. But my purpose here is to tell you my personal opinion, and that is my personal opinion. If I had to choose between listening to Ask the Lonely or Feeling That Way, it's going to be Feeling That Way. So here we go. We have the championship. Two classic Journey songs, Love and Touch and Squeezin' versus Feeling That Way. And like I said, I just got to go with the song I like best. Which song I think flows better? Which song I think is catchier? They are both very well performed. They are both very well written. Everyone is on their A game here, but I like Love and Touch and Squeezin' better. Love and Touch and Squeezin' is the winner of the song tournament. And that is going to conclude the song tournament. As far as this is concerned, Lovin', Touchin', Squeezin' is the greatest Journey song ever, and I am glad you were with me as I arrived at that conclusion. Now, is this actually the greatest Journey song ever? I can't say, because I'm telling you right now, there are a lot of great Journey songs that did not even make the top 16, such as a lot of stuff from the first three albums. Especially Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You. That song is great. Or it might have been Baby, I'm Gonna Leave You. I think it's Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You. I think so. Yeah. That song is great. It's the last song off of their second album, so yeah, there's that. We did not have Escape. We did not have People and Places. We did not have It's Late, or It's Too Late, sorry. None of those were on there, okay? So I cannot say for absolute certainty that Love and Touch and Squeezin' is indeed the best Journey song, but according to this, it is. And that is going to conclude the song tournament. I want to say thank you very much for joining me. Next time, we're going to look at the one bright spot in an otherwise very underwhelming effort. But until then, have a very pleasant evening.